I don't want to brag or anything, but in 6 short months, I took a $60,000 debt, and I doubled that debt. That's right.
They may be laughing at him now, but he was voted least likely to be funny in high school. He's a former, though, world champ of public speaking, beating out 25,000 competitors around the world, and now he's teaching others the art of being funny. But he's not a comedian. Darren LaCroix lives here in Las Vegas, and he's joining us this morning to talk about his interesting area of expertise. And you brought along, you got to show off the trophy, the world champ trophy. I worked
hard for this.
You did. My goodness, you did. I have to ask you, what made you want to go on the road and teach the success story to people and about how they too can be funny?
Well, I mean, I had this dream of making people laugh. I thought, how cool would it be to earn a living at that? But then all of a sudden this little doubting voice said, but that's not you, Darren, you're not funny. And it's that crazy thing, that self-doubt that we all have. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to try it once. I didn't want the regret later in life of saying, what if? And I went, it was Stitches, Boston, Mass, 1992. I went on stage. I bombed miserably.
Okay.
It was painful.
Well, we pulled some video. I think we grabbed that video of you on your first time on stage. Wait, it's the other video.
That's the other video.
Can we go to the other video, guys? There you go. Listen.
But a lot of towns are like this.
Can you hear the crickets?
I was doing some research, like places like Lexington, you know, the first Revolutionary skirmish happened there.
Okay, so were you stop it. Okay, we're having flashbacks. Okay, so obviously you've had some not so pleasant experiences, but when you go around and you're talking in front of crowds, you talk about a few key things, and you talk about using funny to ease people's tension when you notice it with other people.
Absolutely. Well, humor is actually a release of tension. The reason we laugh is because the comedians and humorists are trained to look for the stressors, the amazing tragedies and things that bug us, our pet peeves, and yet we relieve that relieve that tension. If you think of in the comedy or the drama world, we see the comedy and tragedy masks, but you ever notice you never see the comedy without the tragedy, but the tragedy comes first. So that's what I think humorists are, God's little tension relievers.
So you're saying there's also a lot of times when, like you said, somebody's gone through something tragic or, you know, health scares and things like that, where you can actually sense when somebody's scared about something, but actually just use just those little moments and find those little moments to appropriately pepper in there.
I think it's the best customer service, I believe when you humorize, you humanize.
I like that.
It's about seeing the other person, realizing they're human, and actually going in and releasing their tension.
And we have some video here. This is you out doing your seminars, talking, and again, you can go to ktmv.com. We'll put some information about how you can, too, find out how to be funny. Okay, you also mentioned about changing the way you're thinking. A lot of people will say, well, I'm not funny, or things don't happen to me that are funny, but you're saying you have to think like a funny person.
Yeah, if you agree that funny people think differently, then if you want to be funnier, you need to think funnier. For example, I had this woman come up to me on a break at one of our workshops, and she said, Darren, I know what you're talking about personal stories, but she says, nothing funny happens to me. And I used to think, well, no, nothing funny happens to you. What, are you crazy? Do you have children? Are you
nuts? Alive? Yeah.
But at the same time, the more I studied humor, the more I realized humor is in the mind. Humor is in the mind of the beholder.
Right.
So nothing funny happened to her because she didn't see it as funny. See, it happens up here. So people like yourself, like I know, talking to you, you have a natural sense of humor. You love humor, so you see it everywhere.
Right, it's coming at you. But people who kind of block it out, they're not getting it.
They're looking for that tragedy.
Well, I have to ask you, because like I said, you put out books. You wrote a book called Laugh and Get Rich, because you go out and talk to a lot of people, because this really can apply to your business, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
And also, you do a full study course, because if you haven't seen Darren live, you can get all that on DVD. It's called Get More Laughs by Next Week.
Exactly.
And I was asking you before we came on, I said, what brought you to Vegas? And you told me why.
I have this dream that I want to have my own one-man show here called Humor and Hope. I want to have a show that inspires people. The fact that I get to live my dream and love what I do for a living, I want to use my story to help inspire others, but do it in a funny way. So it's not about me being funny, it's about the audience being inspired, and humor is just the medium to my message.
And don't you just think that life is so much better when you can I mean, you know, you think of people and you're like, don't you laugh at anything? I mean, and really just how much, like you said, it's the stress reliever. I bet you it adds 20 years to your life.
It's a perspective changer. It's the more you can see humor, the more fun life can be. Life's short. Why not have more fun? They say, we'll laugh about this someday. Laugh sooner.
Exactly. I like it. Laugh about this someday. No, how about today? Okay, so again, we want to tell people about the book, Laugh and Get Rich. And also, again, you have this 10 CD just monstrosity of all you
DVD
all day
set.
long.
It's a 2-day boot camp on DVD.
Because you do some boot camps. You did a free one here in town a few weeks back, but if you can't catch that, you've got to go online and get this.
A lot of people don't realize there's a structure and there's things that can be learned. That was the big aha for me. For example, I talked to you yesterday. That was great. No anchor has ever asked me ahead of time. That's so cool. You go above and beyond. And I just asked you your background. You said you were French and Danish. So I thought. So one of the things I teach is a little joke that you could use is when you meet people, say, well, I'm half French and half Danish, which means I love to eat escargot behind the windmill.
And we were trying to figure out, what does Danish people, what does it mean?
I had to look it up.
Well, I felt bad because I should know, right? And so exactly. But
wit is combining two unlike ideas. When you see somebody who's witty, you're really saying, oh my gosh, they have the ability to connect ideas I didn't see.
And it's about listening to people and really reading them.
Sorry, what's up?
Sorry, you're funny.
It's an old one.
Don't say you're not a comedian. You are funny.
I learned how.
All right, get the book. It is called Laugh and Get Rich. And also, again, the seminar, I have to read this to you. It is Get More Laughs by Next Week. Again, we're going to put this on our website at ktmv.com. We'll put a link to all of this so you can know all about Darren LaCroix. He's local. Be looking for him on the Las Vegas Strip one of these days.
Live your dreams.
Good to meet you.
Thanks very much for having me.
We'll be right back.